Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at the silver chart for the week ending Friday, August the 18th, 2018. My name is Derek and multiple time frames, and I'm going to be talking about failed move, fast moves, which is the reason I quit trading what is called as the paper market, what I call the digital market or the digital like paper silver or all these paper contracts. I got out of it for what happened today. Earlier on the 2.5 minute warning this morning, talking about metals breaking out, and I was stating this pretty darn near close to the top as they all suddenly declined within the session on this daily time frame. This resistance level barely taken out. We'll take a look at that on a more shorter term time frame. But before this happened today, price action with a beautiful move to the front weighted 18 average of lows. Thus a huge green candle up, which followed yesterday's or the Thursday consolidation pattern. Very, very nice. And it started looking good. It didn't end so, but it's still on this rising trend now at the 18 average of highs. So it could end up being support. We're back to a key where we came from level, but let's now shorten this out, move this to the 4 hour. And what we can note from this time frame within current action, there's the situation of 1720 resisting several occasions. There's a move back to the 18 average of lows on this time frame. Back to 1720, back here, and then back again, close to it. Huge move lower, but then it follows back up to back to 1720. So in here, you're talking about failed breakdown, fast move higher as a possibility. You have the comeback move in here to the 18 average as well. Nice green candle higher. So the situation in here was looking extremely bullish. But I'm going to show it even more so on a quicker time frame. But also worth noting in here is the collection of where the key lows are in place. We got this one, and then along the way there was these lows which occurred from the flash crash. Which the reason why this one is in place for a big one, this was the big key reversal or big key correction from this point. After this low occurred, this was one of those situations at 7 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Pacific, and close to midnight in the European time frames. The market just went huge to the downside, where it was a situation where it can only have been like big central bankers basically just selling it off, I guess because they can afford to do so with the way they maybe they just print it off. We'll see, but it's the only thing that I think could have happened, and that didn't stop the market from falling lower. A little bit of lower lows, lower highs came into this bottom, but again, since then, this is where all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 5 higher lows came in before it finally had this correction. So you basically have key low, and then a bunch of kilos for this move, but from this low to now this low in here. So it's going to be very important on the 1660 level to hold. I don't know if it's going to, because it's going to be very difficult to see how this is playing out, because the situation of this failed move, it just seems to happen so often in these markets, can be very, very destructive. Let's take a look at this on the on a shorter term time frame. And this is the 60-minute one. So therefore, looking at it further, I've talked about the 1720 handle. So at this time, we had the 60-90 mark, which was taken out in here. It was resisting this level on the 15th day. One decent leg lower, going sideways for a day or two. And then, of course, it's rally up, showing the significance of this possible failed breakdown. You had, of course, this correctionary phase. And, of course, in here, like I was stating this morning, things looking pretty decent. But you can see more clearly how this would be that of a possible failed breakout. And yeah, other things of note too is it was on the 14th of this month, roughly at around 17:05. So maybe somewhere in here at around 11:30 in the morning, New York time, I decided to buy some silver. And then a little over 4 days later, or a little over 96 hours later, at around 12 p.m., it is then in my physical possession, which would have been somewhere around here, same price. But to be able to turn Bitcoins and such into silver, I believe is a beautiful thing, as quite frankly, these prices don't mean so much really, whether you have a standard type of a down push, it goes down to 15, 14. Those are the standard moves that it could possibly go to if it goes lower. And that means that it'd be even more cheaper to buy if that situation comes up. But I'm also very confident that if this thing does break out in the near term, and I don't know if it will or not, I wouldn't touch this on a trading level right now with a 10-foot pole. Not at this stage. If anything, short term, I may have already entered into a possible short position in here, but even then I'd be kind of scared to do such, so probably not, especially with all these failed fast moves that these markets continuously have, which the cryptocurrency markets don't have anywhere near as many. Coincidence? Probably not. Because I don't really fear that the price can really hold and stay, or break and stay below this previous level. I really don't think that can happen. Maybe they might do that old crash move, like that flash crash that happened a few weeks ago, and then it comes back up like this again. If that's the case, another great buying opportunity, but I really don't like the chances of it doing it. That's my point of view, which is why I feel when I turn Bitcoin into silver, I'm doing really two things. I'm turning it into a tangible asset in which is giving me what I call safety, in that it really can't go down much. And although I think it's got great upside potential, it's definitely in the near term a negative play, I would consider. Meaning that the next one is that the Bitcoin silver ratio continues to go much higher. For if you see prices even going up here, people be saying, oh, the manipulation's over. I sure as heck won't, unless I can see something to state above the fact or outside the fact. Because when this was going on, was manipulation still, was it over? No. So I understand that within the manipulated market, there's going to be up moves and there's going to be down moves along the way. And I realize that within the normal mechanism of these moves, that anything going up at 24, 25, any of these, even up to this previous resistance level area at around 28, 27, that's still most likely would have to take a decent amount of time, several weeks, if not into 2018. And the probability that Bitcoin would even surpass those gains would probably still be high. You'll just be turning Bitcoin into silver. Well, it would have been nicer to get a bit more, but hey, well, the ratio is now like about, well over 200 to 1. The last I checked, it was in the low 4100s for the price of Bitcoin. So let's just do 4133 and then divide it by the price of silver. So we have about 243 to 1. So we could see silver get up to like 26. And would it surprise you to see, Bitcoin almost 8,000. Silver's moved to 26, yet the ratio is still over 300, which means it would be cheaper to buy silver when the price goes up in US dollars. Thus, of course, paying in a different currency. But I also do feel there's going to be a time and day, and this would have to come after we've already most likely broken well past this 26 level, so it would probably take a decent amount of time where the manipulation of the silver market is going to have no choice but to really come to an end. And I think Bitcoin's going to be a big, and is right now, a big driving force towards such. And then the type of moves in which we've been seeing with the cryptocurrency charts. Situations like in here, Ether on the daily, where it goes from, like say here, it goes from 17 up to like 50, where it just triples. That could be silver going from 30 to 90 kind of deal, or 60 to 180. You have a situation here, 40 going up to 400. That could be going from 70 to 700. That doesn't surprise me if something like that were to exist. I didn't see it back then, but in 1979, silver basically had about a 10x period over a span of a few months into January of 80, where it went from like $5 to over 50 in that situation. And there were significant things that happened to have extraordinary volatility, and that's exactly my point. Because these situations today are even more grand in mechanism size. That could even, like I say, do something to like really end how the manipulation of the market is, because the age of education and information to different things has gotten to extreme, awesome levels today. So therefore, the people piling into these cryptocurrencies has been a lot of, they hate the central banking system. They realize that this is something that is evolutionary or something of that nature. And thus, with the free market, where I do think silver and gold will maneuver itself in time towards, will have these types of gains. How long it would take? Well, I always look at it, well, if things were to really happen starting now, you got to figure, like I state, 26 minimum before you can start to notice things going down, but even realistically close to over 100 per ounce on silver. And in the mechanisms, the best they can do to suppress it to the upside, you might start to see like a significant period of time, at best, that is. Okay, so it makes a rise up to, let's bring the silver chart back up. We'll say 26 or something. Okay, maybe it can do that in, I don't know, say a couple of weeks' time, at best, in today's market. And that's at best again. You probably have some sort of pullback. Maybe you come back to 20. And there's another, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 days. And then some sort of rally maybe up into this location area between 26 and 33. That, again, you'd have to think 6, 7, 8 weeks minimum to get to that point. And okay, let's just assume you have that fast sell or buy order here. There's no resistance here, which is always a possibility, because even in that type of market, you've seen how this went straight up so fast. When it broke this 20 level, it took pretty darn near 3/4 of a year to get there. 3/4, 8 months. And you could easily state, being near at the same level as it was before, well, that's how long it would take. But I'd also be at the camp that if it could do it faster in today's markets. But what's the minimum allocation of time even to get to 50? Could it do it in 3 months? And again, as I was stating before, as far as there to be any extreme end of the manipulation cycle, you could say that move might be what is ending their game, and it might be closer to 100, and that might even be at best like a 5-6 day window, but realistically you'd be talking over 5 to 6 months, and that's of course if it's going to happen anytime soon. For if the system of those who make the trades and the mechanisms that are being done today continues, then is it not possible to have situations whereas they either keep these prices suppressed, or like at least maybe they keep in the sideways range, or they try to bring it down? But then if so, are they going to be able to handle the physical buys? Will this stop people from buying? And the crypto buys again will become that much cheaper. How will that work for the physical commodity? How is this going to work in the actual mining field? From what I'm hearing, mines are shutting down, so the production is going lower, and it will take time once the price goes higher for these new mines to come back and new ones to even be formed for people to be able to mine it profitably. But even furthermore as well, I guess you could say it would also be possible where this could have this type of move where Bitcoin prices would be unable to outperform it because this was a 2.5 times move. So if it were to say go up to 50 now, Bitcoin again is at 44. So that would almost have to go to close to 13,000. Well, if Bitcoin got up to 7,500 or 7,900, that'd be a situation where it would outperform silver. So just because Bitcoin's in a bull market and you think the manipulation's in place, that it's a guarantee that the Bitcoin to silver ratio, especially with Bitcoin in its nice bull market, can only go higher, it's to me only very probable that that's going to be the case, because here I'm talking about best case scenarios at this current time. Realistic scenario, if it even does go bullish now, is it's probably going to take some time. You're going to make a move in here, come back to where you came from. Maybe it could shoot through that first attempt and then have a fast move. Don't count that out as well. And then maybe have a fast move up to here, we'll say. So it goes to where it comes from at 28, and then maybe it goes sideways, comes down. Maybe it doesn't come to where it will come from. Maybe it'll support 24, but then maybe it'll go from 28 back down to 20. That's definitely still in a possibility as well. Either way, the time that would be allocated for this to go on, and then of course you'd break it, and then you'd have to make some sort of move to get back up to here. Realistically speaking, a more probable realistic situation, if it's going to be bullish now, is that it would take well into next year's summer before it could have a real good break test. But, well, I guess 9 months last time. You could do it in 6 months. I guess maybe you could do it in February, March. So I guess possibly. But anyway, it's pretty much what I wanted to go over. And yeah, again, the reason in which I stopped day trading back in 2009 was because I have situations like this. Yeah, okay, let's go long in here. And then I'd be forced to sell for some sort of loss. And that was just happening. Like, literally, I'd have like 7 trades and have like 6 or 7 do something like this. It was literally sick back in the day. And I've been noticing so many occasions within these markets, and I've already stated this already, of course, where gold and silver will do this on both the bullish and bearish scenarios. So thank you for tuning in and have a great weekend.